Welcome, everybody, to Season 5, Episode 40 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 Podcast. This is the season finale of Season 5, so you know we had to end the season with a bang. And today we are excited to have two prestigious guests in the building. First and foremost, so go ahead and give a round of applause to Mr. Amir Makled in the building today. Appreciate him for coming out. And then to the right of me, we have Shereef Akeel in the building as well. Shout out to little big bro Yusuf T in the back on the ones and twos. I am your host Omar T, and today's topic or the title of the episode is "Who oversees the universities? Why Amir Makled and Shereef Akeel's races matter to all of us." All right, so we got Amir Makled running for the board of Regents. What is it called? What's the title again?
The Board of Regents at
Board of
University
Regents,
of Michigan.
University of Michigan, and then we got Shereef Akeel. You are running for a very similar position for Wayne State University as well.
The Board of Governors.
Board of Governors. All right. So there we go. We got Board of Governors, Board of Regents, University of Michigan, Wayne State University. Looking forward to the conversation today. But be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, all under Oz Media. You can find all those platforms on our website, ozmedia313.com. Shout out to the sponsors, Juicebox, Holy Bowly, Wingfellas, Beitel Mocha, Chillbox, Melek Kebab, Haley International Academy, GE Preparatory Academy, and don't forget the Family Doc. Yusuf, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our good friends over there at the Family Doc. Just like Amir said, he knows Dr. Ali, a bunch of great people at the Family Doc. Shout out to the Family Doc and their support. So let's go ahead and start off with them. The Family Doc. Founded in 2021, the Family Doc Clinic and Urgent Care provides comprehensive primary and urgent care services with a patient-centered approach. Their competitive advantage lies in delivering high-quality, flexible care with same-day appointments and walk-in options. So if you twisted your ankle while playing basketball, go to the Family Doc. Your baby has got a cold and you have no scheduled appointment? Go to the Family Doc. With 3 locations in Dearborn Heights, Hamtramck, and Allen Park, the Family Doc team can take care of you anywhere and anytime. So make sure you stop by the Family Doc, where they strive to make healthcare seamless, stress-free, and accessible when patients require it the most. All right, we are officially back, ready to get this show rolling. So before we even dive into anything, before we even talk about the campaign, before we talk about any public office position, who are Amir Makled and Shereef Akeel? Tell us about your backgrounds, your family, anything that you want to maybe talk about or mention on the show. So Shereef, we can start off with you on this one. Unless you want, I'm sorry, I said Shereef and I pointed at Amir. Amir, we can start off with you on this one. Feel free to start off and tell us a little bit about yourself that the audience gets to know you a little better.
Well, first, I want to thank and appreciate you for inviting Shereef and I onto the show today. I've watched your podcast many times. It's a wonderful production. I'm very impressed by it. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. For those that don't know me, my name is Amir Makled. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, raised in Dearborn, graduated from Northville High School. Went to the University of Michigan, Dearborn, and graduated law school from Wayne State University School of Law. I've been practicing law in Dearborn for nearly 15 years. My focus on my law practice is civil rights litigation, criminal defense, and personal injury. I was raised in the community here in Dearborn. My parents came here from Lebanon in the 1970s. My dad was an auto worker at the Ford Rouge stamping plant and part of the UAW. So we came from a union household, and so that's kind of the upbringing that we had. He later ventured into small businesses, and so that's been my upbringing, and what I've been doing for my career. So my community has always been here in the Southeast Michigan area. And then proud to be now here on your podcast. So I appreciate you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for that great introduction. Shereef, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and anything you want the audience to get to know a little bit more about you?
Sure. Thank you, Omar, for having us, and thank you for Oz Media. It's a wonderful service that you're providing to the community. For those that don't know me, my name is Shereef Akeel. I'm a lifelong Michigander. I grew up in Sterling Heights, graduated from Sterling Heights Stevenson, went to University of Michigan, got my economics degree. After that, went to Wayne State, which has a soft spot in my heart. Got my MBA at Wayne State. After that, I picked up my CPA, and I was practicing accounting for 8 years while I was going to law school. And I graduated from Detroit College of Law in 1996. And for the last 30 years, I have been practicing law, civil rights law specifically, seeking accountability and transparency. I'm married, father of 5. I couldn't get that girl. Just can't make a girl. It's just, it is what it is. But alhamdulillah, thank God we have a good the boys are great. And I'm married, my wife for 30 years, and she's specialized in education, specifically sign language. So that's a little bit about myself.
I love that. I love that. Thank you guys both for the great introductions. You know, it's always good for people to get to know you guys before we dive into more conversations. So many Michigan voters don't realize these university board positions oversees the institutions that educate the future doctors, engineers, teachers, entrepreneurs, and community leaders. So why should every Michigan resident care about these elections that are going to be taking place in November, by the way? So why, you know, when people talk about the Board of Governors or Board of Regents, like, they don't really know too much about the actual role. So why should people care about what it is or who's actually in those positions?
Omar, every Michigander has a stake in this election. Universities play a vital role in the success of Michigan. It is incumbent and it is of the interest of every Michigander that the institutions are strong, that the objectives are achieved with respect to academic success, research excellence, and most importantly, student retention within the state of Michigan. You need to have a functioning board for the best interest of Michigan to ensure that the universities are doing what they're supposed to do, and that is to ensure that the tuitions are affordable, that research is there's groundbreaking research being achieved here in Michigan. Employees are happy at the university, and students are achieving success and graduating on time to be able to contribute to the economy of Michigan. So it is very important to have a strong governorship that is able to achieve those objectives to ensure that Michiganders are best served.
So let me ask this question before we pass it on to you, Amir. Anyone can vote for these people in these positions, or is it specifically like a specific district based off of what, you know, institution you are running for? Like, how does the voting work for Michiganders when it comes to like the Board of Governors or the Board of Regents?
Yeah, it's a good question, because that's specifically for Wayne State. People think, oh, it's a Wayne County or a local. No, it's a statewide seat.
Really?
Oh yes, it's going to be on the ballot statewide,
Nice.
from Mackinac to Grand Rapids to Monroe to the city of Detroit. It's a statewide seat. So there is this concept, oh, you know, the universities in Washington are just going to be a local thing, or in Lansing because of Michigan State, or Wayne State. Said no, it's a statewide seat. So it is important for every Michigander to pay attention to these elections, because you want to make sure that these universities are doing what they're supposed to do, and that is to serve the people.
Okay.
And just to expand on what Shereef is saying a little bit, what's unique about Michigan is we're one of the only states in the country that allows a statewide election for university boards. There's not many states in the country that allow that. Most states will appoint these board positions, and they're appointed either by the governor or other political leaders in the different states, and so the boards become a tool of political insiders. Michigan is unique because the framers of our Michigan Constitution wanted to have the public, the people, to choose how these universities would be governed. And so Michigan State, Wayne State, University of Michigan are the 3 institutions. They're in the Michigan Constitution that they shall be elected by the people, these governing boards. And the governing boards would, for U of M, for example, govern all 3 campuses. So you got Wayne State, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint. And then in addition, most people don't recognize that we have University of Michigan Health System, which is the largest public health institution in the state of Michigan. And that expands beyond just Ann Arbor. We have 11 hospitals under the University of Michigan health system, and it could cover areas of the state that don't have access to health care. And so when we have a governing board that recognizes that as a public institution, as a nonprofit healthcare system, we can use the University of Michigan health system to to fill the void where people who don't have access to healthcare or can afford healthcare, we can use University of Michigan's system to give that type of benefit to the parts of Michigan that are lacking. And the same goes for the educational aspect, right? So access to higher education, affordable higher education, and making sure that the people that are running the institutions, the workers, the professors, the lecturers, are all having high quality jobs that can contribute to not only the development of our students at the universities, but also to the communities that they serve. And so these board positions are unique that they have for example, U of M's budget is $15 billion. And it's the board that governs that budget and how to spend those dollars for the university. The administration runs the day-to-day. The board is the overseer of the administration of the university. And that's why these positions and shaping these institutions are so important. And these elections are so important because when we're shaping these institutions, the people select who we want to represent and how we want these institutions to be led for the benefit of the state of Michigan.
Great answers on both of those. Thank you for clarifying that. And so, I mean, my question was going to be why U of M, why Wayne State, but both of you guys are grads from the respective schools, so it makes sense that you guys are running for those schools. So I guess what inspired each of you to seek these positions, though? Like, was there a defining moment or experience that convinced you that your leadership could make a meaningful difference?
Well, in my experience, I graduated from U of M Dearborn in 2009. And when I was at that institution, I was a part of the student government. I was very involved in student life at the University of Michigan Dearborn. And as a regional campus, I saw firsthand what a regional campus can do in benefiting commuters, people who are non-traditional students that are older and that are coming in for higher education. These institutions can really assist. And so in my time at U of M Dearborn and then in my practice of law, I have found, key moments that I thought this institution can really benefit the community. But what brought me into this conversation of trying to run for the University of Michigan board is my representation of some students who were involved at the encampment at U of M in Ann Arbor. Some students were encamped in protest for the war in Gaza. And they were peacefully protesting, nonviolent protesters, and they were encamped for 30 days. What occurred in that litigation is students were charged criminally for just mere protest activity. And it was some of the board that was pushing for these prosecutions. And so after we represented those students successfully and we litigated those cases and all the charges were dropped on the students who were charged in those, there was an opportunity for someone to challenge the members of the board that were pushing for those prosecutions. I looked at that opportunity. I said, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in the race because I think this institution needs to have a voice where civil rights are protected, where students can have discourse and public debate, where free speech is safe on campuses, and that we're having an institution that can benefit the community. I looked at my time at U of M Dearborn and the impact U of M Dearborn had on me and the impact that I can have as a civil rights attorney in the institution as a whole. Once I decided to get into that and I explored that, the race, I recognized there's a lot of benefit that I can bring to the university. In my working class background and the work that I do as a civil rights attorney and pushing back on big institutions and representing individuals, and so I thought my contribution to the University of Michigan could be beneficial. And so now we're in the race. We're on the ballot for November, and we're hopefully pushing for an agenda that's going to be people oriented, right? So standing up for the little guy, making sure that the University of Michigan remains a public institution that supports the entire state of Michigan, all people in the state of Michigan having a safe space, access to higher education, and the ability to provide the state of Michigan with the best institution and possible.
How about you, Shereef? What inspired you to run for Wayne State University?
Universities, and we all know, provide a lasting impression to students. When parents, they raise their children to 18 and they send off their kids to school, to that university, that's a tremendous responsibility for a governor, for the faculty, for academia, to ensure that proper guidance is provided, free of any intimidation, an ability to grow, ability to tap into that potential. So you have to have a university that provides that type of that type of governorship. I've been practicing law for 30 years, mainly civil rights, seeking transparency and accountability, and asking these hard questions. Wayne State, I said I had that soft spot in my heart. It's the number one university, SME, number one, I'm going to say, in social mobility, elevating people, their economic status to the next level, providing generational wealth to families. And it's right in the heart of Detroit. So it was a natural transition for me from practicing law for civil rights, being the voice for the voiceless and helping lifting people and getting their rights, to go to Wayne State and to be able to provide that mindset to increase that social mobility further. There is one troubling statistic at Wayne State, which really has been a primary motivator for me to run, and that is Wayne State is the hub for first generation students, students where parents did not go to school, and they are the first going to school, but the graduation rate is less than 36%, where the 4-year graduation rate, where the national average is 70%. Imagine if we can increase that graduation rate, for the 4-year graduation rate for first generation students, to the national average. The increase in social mobility will be wonderful for the city of Detroit. And a strong Wayne State will be a strong city of Detroit, will be a strong state of Michigan.
I love that. So every candidate brings personal values and life experiences to public service. How have your background shaped your approach to leadership? And how do you build trust with people from every community in every walk of life?
Yeah, leadership is, in my judgment, is based on trust, developing trust, listening, listening to the constituents' needs, uh, be open-minded about diverse challenges that people are facing, and um, that helps develop your leadership style. I'm more about having everyone have a seat on the table. And there are different people with different challenges. You have the union workers, they have their concerns about putting food on the table, about making sure. You have the faculty worrying about getting tenureship status. You have students worrying about affordability. Am I going to graduate? Am I going to graduate in time? You have uh, uh, employers trying to connect with universities and trying to, and you want to, that's another whole constituent, are the employers. Are universities graduating students to serve the needs of employers? So as a leader, you have to be mindful of these different challenges, needs, and objectives to formulate proper decisions that serves the best interest of the Michiganders.
I love that. And same question to you, Amir. Like, if what kind of personal values are you bringing in life experiences to the public service, and how has your background shaped you into being the leader that you know that you are?
I expand on what Shereef has said, and I go right down to just my personal values, right? So what touches me the most? I'm a father, first and foremost. So I'd want to see, the future of the state of Michigan and in the higher education institutions, to be a place where I'd want my daughters to go. And so I look rooted in the family values that we have. That in my role as an attorney, I've seen how difficult things can be for individuals, working class families, for students, for all walks of life. And so we want to make sure that our role in a board is listening, being open minded to all walks of different perspectives. And Shereef touched on this perfectly, right? So there are a number of working things in a big institution like a university. You have organized labor, you have students, you have faculty, you have the hospitals. We have a big responsibility and role to shape these institutions to support the community, because that's what they're there for. They're there to support the state of Michigan and the entire state. And so we have to look at it like this role is a steward of trust. You are a steward of an institution, and you have to make sure that when you're seated in this role, the hat that you're wearing is representing the entire state of Michigan. So we can't come in with a very narrow-minded perspective or closed-minded perspective. We have to, have a very open mind and listening more, educating ourselves more, and getting right to our values. Does this benefit individuals? Does this help the community? Does this move the institution in the right direction for what the values of the institution and the core mission of the institution? And that's what comes down to running these universities.
Both of you guys, great responses. And when you talk about benefiting, I'll tell you what benefits my stomach is the food at Malika Kebab, Amir. So I just want to let you know
Great food.
we're going to go ahead and give Malika Kebab our shout out. That's our next ad sponsor of the day, and give these guys a quick break. So shout out to our good friends over there at Malika Kebab. Malika Kebab has become noted as one of the best Middle Eastern restaurants in the Metro Detroit area. The restaurant has become a popular destination for visitors and is always full of satisfied locals who are proud to invite their guests to taste real Middle Eastern food. With options like shish platters, shawarma plates, shawarma sandwiches, lamb chops, fettush, and tabbouleh salads, you can never go wrong when you choose to eat at Malika Kebab. They currently have 3 locations: West Dearborn, Taylor, and Trenton. Be sure to stop by Malika Kebab to satisfy all of your Middle Eastern cravings. You can also visit them at their website, malikkebab.com. All right, so we are now back getting it rolling, man. I hope you guys are learning something at home, and make sure you go out and vote in the November election, and make sure you vote for these 2 guys right here, man. These guys are what is needed in those specific seats. So, inshallah, that is something that we get to see happen and come to life. And I know it's still early in July, but you can come out there and support, and we're gonna let them share how you can support their their causes, and how you can help them in their campaigns as well. So I believe we're back to you now, Amir. Universities have become places where difficult conversations often play out.
Right.
You and Jamil, you mentioned Jamil before the show,
Yeah.
were part of I believe, a nationwide recognized case. I mean, for sure, statewide case. Um, how can university leaders protect free expression, promote respectful dialogue, and ensure that every student feels safe, heard, and able to learn?
Yeah, this is the been a major talking point nationally, and so Jamil and I and a number of attorneys were representing the students I mentioned earlier on the encampment cases, and that was a situation that arose nationally. It started in Columbia and expanded to universities across the country, where students were expressing their opinions in a unique way, where they encamped in the university public spaces to protest the war in Gaza. And I don't remember anything in any recent history where we've seen a national protest at universities quite like that, where students were encamped and organized and pushing back on public institutions not speaking out against the war. What we saw, though, was a crackdown on these voices of students. And so the institution has a obligation and responsibility to create safe spaces for dialogue, for debate, because where else would we have these hard conversations other than a university, place? The universities are the marketplace of ideas. That's where ideas are formed. That's where I, as a student, when I was at U of M and at Wayne State, kind of found myself politically, socially, learning new things and experiencing new conversations and engaging with different people. And so when people come to an institution, they have all walks of life's backgrounds and beliefs coming into one space from across the country and across the state. We need to have that type of environment where rigorous debate and discourse and even dissent is allowed. But it has to be done in a way where it's safe, right? Where we're not crossing the line, where there's threats of violence, where there's vandalism, where there's hate speech that's occurring on campuses. See, that's not right, and that's not what these institutions should be harboring or allowing, right? So, because we need to make sure that these institutions have the understanding of where the line has gone too far. In those encampment cases, we defended what we called was free speech, the criminalization of free speech. And those charges were ultimately dropped. But it started a debate within the institutions. Where is the line drawn? Where should we, as an institution, allow people to have this type of debate? And should it be in the classroom? Should it be in the public square? Should it be online? These are the types of, issues that a board and the administration and members of the community stakeholders should have an idea as to how do we continue to make sure that we're having a conversation of where public discourse is. And my firm belief is that we allow debate, but we don't allow hate speech. We allow discourse and dissent, but we don't do it in a way where it's hurting somebody else or drowning somebody else's voice. We should be able to communicate with one another peacefully, respectfully, because that's that's the way we learn from one another. Listening more than shouting and debating, and listening is important. And I think Shereef has a similar stance on that.
Yeah, Shereef, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Well, we're both civil rights lawyers, so we both pursue the same objective to make sure that dignity, respect, and equity is provided to every walk of life, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what their faith, what their origin. The Supreme Court said that the constitutional rights of students do not stop at the door of the campus. I mean, these students are just like any other citizen, have the same rights as any other citizen, and those rights are to be cherished, preserved. Preserving those students' rights preserves all our rights. If we ignore these students' rights, then there's going to be the beginning of the erosion of constitutional rights for all of us. So it's a matter of principle and conviction. At the same time, we have to ensure that they are engaging in free speech in a safe environment. Amir said the information needs to be communicated in a manner that's free of any intimidation. And we got to understand too, at a university, that's the most impressionable age for these students. And these are our future leaders. And what a great opportunity to be able to exchange ideas, thoughts, while you're still forming your opinions about life. Many people, when they're in their 30s, or they already have hardened views in many ways. But young kids, when they come in, young students, they come in and they're open-minded about things. They'll talk to someone from the Netherlands, someone from Denmark, someone from Canada, someone from Nigeria, someone from Brazil, someone from Detroit, someone from Dearborn, and to learn about their culture, and to learn about their political views, and to learn about their stances. And we have to guard that safe haven of communication. And not only that, it's also the students' communications with faculty. We have to preserve that. Faculty should be afforded the ability to research what they want to research, publish what they want to publish. That's the hotbed of ideas and information, are the universities. And we have to do what we can to protect students and faculty's rights in a safe environment.
I love that. So, I know you guys are both running for different universities, but you're both committed to strengthening the higher education in Michigan. How have your campaigns maybe deferred, and what common goals do you guys share?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Wayne State's role it serves within the state of Michigan is different than the University of Michigan. Wayne State is an urban university. Its competitor is not University of Michigan. They fulfill different roles. University of Illinois Chicago is kind of similar to Wayne State. Cleveland State is similar to Temple is similar. So these are good benchmarks to see how those universities are serving their constituents and making sure that students graduate timely, that the tuition rates are affordable, that there is a drive and a strive for academic excellence, that there's going to be groundbreaking research for these universities to serve the Michiganders. And all of that, at the same time, you have to be able to be prudent in spending and resource allocation. I have a CPA, and I think I can contribute in being able to see where is the money going, where are our priorities, with our civil right background, we're able to ask these tough questions. we're about transparency and accountability. And so it's so I see Wayne State as a vital instrument to help continue increase the resurgence of the city of Detroit, and develop further strong bonds with employers. And it's so important to also try to focus on student retention within the state. We don't want to lose our students. A lot of our students are leaving and going to Chicago. They're going out of state. We want to do what we can to provide them incentives and provide employers incentives. It's a collaborative process. We can't look at things in an isolated and lens. We have to approach this in a collaborative manner, understand all of the constituents, all their needs, and to try to reach that objective where we really increase student retention within the state of Michigan, have them graduate timely, making the tuition affordable, and serving the needs of the employers within the city and outside the city.
What are your thoughts on that same question? Basically, I know you guys are running for different universities, but what are some of the differences that your campaign has had, or also some similarities to what Shereef is doing?
I think our campaigns are really similar in the thoughts of how we see university governance. But in Michigan, the distinction is that University of Michigan is, probably the top public university in the country. And I look at the institution as a research institution that can benefit society as a whole, not just the state of Michigan, not just the country, but the world. And some of the research that's coming out of the University of Michigan, both in the healthcare system and in the science centers and in the different areas that the university develops and provides for. And so what we're looking to is expand on that and creating more opportunity for researchers, for faculty and staff and workers in this institution to maintain that high, wonderful reputation that the institution has, and making sure that we provide that type of space for the institution to continue to grow. So whatever resources the University of Michigan needs, that's what we're hoping to provide.
So let's talk about the students and the families' concerns, right? The students and the families are concerned about affordability, workforce preparation, research, campus safety, student access, and partnerships with surrounding communities. So what role can trustees and governors realistically play in addressing these priorities, and where are the limits of the position?
Well, I think the Board of Governors, you touched on every topic that they have really a stake in. The board is one that will help set the tuition and provide the community to have say so in how the institution is ran. Community support. Support comes in no matter what. Input from various stakeholders. And so, you're touching on every point that the board has a role in that question.
Is there any limitations to what the board and
Well, certainly. I mean, the board is not negotiating a contract, for instance, between the administration and a union. The board is not involved in that bargaining, right? But the board does, develop what it's looking for the framework in running this institution. They do help develop the budget for the institution, and they work closely with the administration and with the people that run the institution. So there's certain things that we're not hiring and the coaches. The administration would be doing something like that, but we're overseeing these institutions and making sure that it's ran in a proper form.
How about you, Shereef? Any different with Wayne State?
No, the role is similar in that the Board of Governors of Wayne State, they don't do the day-to-day operation, the hands-on, but they do provide that advisory role capacity, and it's a strong advisory role. Again, this is a statewide seat. Michiganders are entrusting the governors to ensure that taxpayer money is being allocated properly to these institutions to ensure that they are serving the best interest of Michigan. So that's a that's a task. It's an honorable task, and it's got to be taken serious. So that would include making sure that there's a healthy environment within the university, within that union, that the unions, that there's a seat on the table for the unions, that there's respect given to the faculties and staff, that students are provided the services that they paid their tuition for, and it's affordable, and that the missions, that the university's objectives take precedence over politics. It's very important. We've seen politics kind of uh, interfere with universities' objectives.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we have to put the university's objectives, the students' objectives, the faculty's objectives, the union workers' objectives, the employers' objectives, Michiganders' objectives over politics. So a governor has a formidable role to ensure that these objectives are met in a measured manner that best serve the public.
I love that. I love that. And we're gonna take our final break of season 5, Yusuf, and we're gonna go ahead and give a shout out to our good friends over there at Chillbox, and then we're going to move on to the last third of the show. So shout out to Chillbox. Chillbox. Chillbox Convenience Stores, a proud family-owned business, has established a strong presence throughout Southeast Michigan. Chillbox branded gas partners are Valero, Shell, BP, Amoco, and Sunoco gas stations. Their mission is simple: to deliver fast, friendly, and convenient service to their valued customers. With a wide range of snacks, refreshing beverages, and food options, all offered at competitive prices, they aim to satisfy every craving with a smile. With 40 locations and more coming soon all across Southeast Michigan, their commitment extends beyond providing convenience. They strive to be a reliable and trustworthy resource for their local communities. So be sure to go chill at Chillbox. All right. Believe it or not, we are already moving into the last third of not just this show, but the last third of the final show of season 5. First of all, thank you guys that were watching this episode and watched all the season 5, from the Fantasy Guys to Motivate Me 313 shows. We appreciate your support, and we are down to the last few questions. And so, Shereef, what has this campaign taught you about leadership, public service, and the people of Michigan? Has anything surprised or challenged your perspective?
That's a very good question. One thing that surprised me was the impact of Wayne State on the community at large. When I go and I speak at different venues, I learn how Wayne State has affected them in some way. I know University of Michigan is out there, but Wayne State has affected so many people. We're Amir's a Wayne State graduate. I'm a Wayne State graduate. It permeates, so the impact of that was profound. The other thing that was really that I learned and I appreciate was, leadership comes from building trust and relationships with people, and it was very enheartening and very. I was so appreciative to learn of how so many people were. I was able to reach out to, and they opened their arms that they wanted to help or they wanted to contribute, and it's not just based on an interaction just for that day, but based on 30 years serving the community. And so when you build trust and you build relationships and you treat people with respect and dignity, I've learned how that can come. I didn't, you don't know it when you were doing it. You're just doing things you're supposed to do, what your mom and dad taught you how you do it, and but you learn that there could be dividends that come back based on the established relationships and trust that you formed over the years. And that was something that was really a positive thing that I learned during the campaign.
How about you, Amir? What has this campaign taught you about leadership, public service, and the people of Michigan? Anything surprise you or challenge you?
Well, I mean, when we started this campaign and I started going across, the entire state of Michigan. I mean, I've been to parts of Michigan that I'd never visited before in my life, but I was, from Muskegon to Monroe, Rapids, Grand Traverse, Benton Harbor, Bay City, cross section of the entire state of Michigan. I recognize that people in the state of Michigan have the same shared values. They're looking for dignity and respect. They're looking for a university that's going to allow access to higher education, that the University of Michigan remains a public institution. It's really it's an amazing thing to serve the public. I've never been a politician. I never thought of myself as a politician. This role, was rising to the responsibility of leadership, where I saw there was some leadership lacking at the institution, and I thought that I could serve this institution in the state of Michigan and have a positive impact on that role. And when I went on the campaign trail and I started talking to folks about my intentions and what this campaign represented and what our goal and mission was, it's well received. And there's a lot of blessings when you have the pure intentions of why you're trying to do this, to serve the community, to benefit the community, to benefit the institution that we're trying to serve, and to benefit the state of Michigan as a whole. People will see that genuineness and respect you, and really want to welcome that. And so, from day one, we've had pure intentions of trying to serve others, and I'm grateful and feel very blessed to have this opportunity to give back and serve in this role. And so if the opportunity does present itself and we're successful in our campaign come November, I won't take that for granted. That the trust that the voters have given, our campaign, our values, our role, our platform to serve these institutions to benefit the state of Michigan and the University of Michigan.
So what we like to do is inspire people, and especially the younger generation, who typically, when you look at the numbers, don't come out and vote as much as I'm sure that people would want the numbers to be. So what message would you like to share with the young people across Michigan who aspire to become leaders in their communities, professions, or public service?
Oh, I would say to the young folks is to stay engaged. Ask questions, be curious. Look into things. Don't be afraid to take risks, and be honest with yourself and trying to try new things. Because you might find yourself enjoying it if you take a chance on yourself. Don't even think it's too hard or not attainable for you. You have to manifest positive, outlook in life. To me, I'm a big person of you got to give yourself an opportunity, put yourself in the right position, do well and right by people, and rewards will come your way. Work hard and things will come back to you. But don't be afraid to take a chance.
I love that. And Shereef, same question to you, I guess, is what message you sent to the young people?
My message to the young folks would be never underestimate the impact of what one person can do on a society. Be yourself. Learn from one another. Learn. Chase your passion. Chase your interest. Try to be authentic and real. Be yourself. Because when you're authentic and when you're real, and you're aligned and your values, people see it. People see it. And when you learn, you grow, and you're only gonna be able to tap your potential and reach really for the skies when you listen to others, work hard, and be engaged, and most important is just be yourself. It is really critical. And sometimes, I did go through different roads of education. I was going to be, am I going to be in economics? I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to be, am I wasting my life? That's not what you learn. Is that each experience is a building brick, is a brick of a house you are building. And it's an experience that you're going to learn, that you're going to be able to use in your next journey. For example, in law school, there was this lady, she loved horses. That was her thing. That was her passion. She went to law school, and now, now she does equestrian law. She's the only one that does horse law. Have you ever heard of horse law?
Never.
Preserve the rights of horses. That's what she does. That's her passion.
What a unique thing. What
That's
an amazing
very
thing
passion.
to do, yeah.
There was another guy, he was an astronaut. Came back into law school. He does space law. You know space law? Space law. Yeah. And so but at that time he was an astronaut. I was going to be a lawyer, but he didn't know at that time. So my point is, the journey these young folks are pursuing, treat them as building blocks for a greater thing that you're going to achieve. But stay connected, be real, stay engaged, and just know that you can that as long as you have the right intentions, good things will come out.
Shereef, believe it or not, final question.
Yeah.
It says if elected, but inshallah, when elected.
Sure.
What are your top priorities during your first year? When people look back years from now, what do you hope they will remember about your service and your impact on Michigan universities? Well, Wayne State University, but double question. Really, it's not just one question. So I guess, what are your first year impacts, or what do you want? What is your priority? And then when they look back on your time at Wayne State University, what do you want them to remember you by, like, with the service that you brought to the Wayne State University?
Yeah, a Wayne State governor, just like University of Michigan trustee. We're one of 8, so it's incumbent upon us to work with 7 other governors or trustee regents to make sure to reach the goal. My main criteria at Wayne State is to help first generation students. I would like to make an impact where they are able to graduate timely and increase that graduation rate from 36% after 4 years to the national average. I think that can have a tremendous impact. Right now, Wayne State is great at social mobility. Again, it's number 1. But if we're able to elevate or increase that graduation rate, we're going to enhance that social mobility, provide economic injection into the city of Detroit and for the state of Michigan. With that goal, other things come into play, and that is to ensure that there's respect given to the union workers, that faculty tenureships are being honored, faculty is being competitively paid, staff is being provided the right working environment, students have affordable tuition, students are able to freely exercise their speech. So I see all of this working together, but that impact, if we're able to increase the graduation rate, we can enhance the social mobility and really be a major player for accelerating the growth of the city of Detroit and provide a powerful impact for the state of Michigan and Michiganders. We're serving the people of Michigan, and I think one of the last thing I want to say is, when we did do the campaign, and we were up at the UP, and people say, what's Wayne State gonna? How's it gonna help me? So when you connect the dots and you say how Wayne State can help the city of Detroit, and how a strong city of Detroit can help the state of Michigan, then they realize. And another thing too is, a lot of parents, they want their kids to go to University of Michigan, or they want to go to Michigan State. That's and you want to have that other alternative, Wayne State, to be that can provide just as the services as any other university, where their students are able to graduate and be contributing citizens.
I love that. And Amir, same question to you, I guess, is, if elected, inshallah, when elected, what are your top priorities during your first year? And then when people look back years from now, what do you hope they'll remember about your service and your impact on University of Michigan?
Well, I think the one of our top priorities that we're trying to accomplish at U of M is to make sure that we have the policies of diversity, equity, and inclusion reinstated at the institution. That we're one of 8 members of a board that can push policies that are going to be allowing, safe third spaces, for example, for students to work in and study in and have develop ideas for themselves. And then pushing back on whether it's administration from the federal government or outside influence on the universities, where we can push back as an institution to make sure that the institution remains without any type of undue influence from outside pressures, that the governance of this university remains what at its core. a public institution that allows for the free speech, academic freedom, and workers' rights are protected at these institutions. And so when people look back at our tenure as a member of the board, I would hope that they would look at our campaign and as my role as a regent as somebody that stood up for the individuals, stood up for the institution, and making sure that it's accessible for working families or working class individuals that had access to higher education, public education, and affordable education. And the same goes for when we're discussing healthcare, that it's accessible healthcare and affordable healthcare in the state. And so that's what we're looking for in my role and capacity as a member of the Board of Regents.
Can you give these guys a round of applause, both of them? Before we just let people know how they can support your campaigns, I just want to say thank you to the both of you for coming on today. You guys, inshallah, it works out for both of you. We are here to support any way that we can. This is why we wanted to have you guys come on the show. We love what you guys are doing. We love what you guys represent. And, the goal is to get you guys in those seats. So however way we can help, please feel free to let us know. And for those that are at home watching, again, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Oz Media. You can listen to this whole show on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. You can find all the platforms on our website, ozmedia313.com. One last time, giving a shout out to the sponsors of Oz Media: Juice Box, Holy Bowly, Wingfellas, Chillbox, Melika Kebab, Hanley International Academy, The Family Doc, GE Preparatory Academy, and Royal Kebab. Shout out to the sponsors. Shout out to these guys. Shereef, we'll start off with you. Let people know how they can support you, your campaign, and any final message that you want to send out there. And if you want to look at the camera, that's your camera right there.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. That's whatever.
Yeah. No, well, I'm looking at but that one's yours right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having us, Omar, on this wonderful podcast. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your interest. We appreciate also the fact that you're providing a forum to educate the public. I think we have a great opportunity right now. I think it could be transformational in a positive way to serve the best interests of the community and the state at large. We just have to be civically engaged. We have to be, if we don't speak and if we don't have our voices heard, someone else will do it for us. If someone else will speak their position, and their position is going to trump your ideas. So it is important to be involved. We have a website, Akeel, WSU. We have a Facebook. We're getting in social media. We have a campaign team that's helping out. I know everybody's focused on August 4. We're not part of the August 4. There's some misinformation sometimes that do they have to do anything? No, there's other races right now for August 4. We're going to be in the September ballot. The November ballot. Here, creating more confusion. The November ballot, and it's going to be this is where it's important for everybody to be registered to vote, and to go out there and vote. We'll be on the ballot, and this is going to be a good opportunity to have your voices heard.
I love that. Shereef and Amir, close us out. How can people support you? How can people help the campaign? And any final words? And if you want to look at the camera, that's your camera right there.
Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon. I appreciate Oz Media and Omar and your production team putting this together for us to really platform our campaign, our ideas, and what we're attempting to accomplish. And so what I say to people come November is make sure that we engage and do our civic responsibility and duty to vote. Shereef and I are running as Democrats, and I would hope that our listeners, our people who support our campaign, our ideas, who are just learning about what a board does and what the respective roles between Wayne State and University of Michigan, or even at Michigan State, is. Now that you've been informed, to exercise your right to vote and tell others. Get out the vote in November. Vote for as Democrats. Shereef and I running as a Democrat, support the slate of Democrats. We'll be part of the coordinated campaign efforts coming closer to the election in November. And so we're hoping that folks will remember the university boards were at the bottom of the ballot, but they're important. And then so if you vote straight party as a Democrat, you'll be voting for us. But if you get down to the bottom of the ballot, remember the Democrats that are running for these university board positions, and they share a lot of the same ideas, thoughts, and concepts of what Shereef and I are trying to accomplish at the universities. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Go ahead and give him a round of applause, Yusuf, one last time. If you're at home watching and listening, I just want to tell you one last time, thank you again for being a supporter for all 5 seasons, and specifically this season 5 as well. And believe it or not, we're going to close it out. This was season 5, episode 40 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 podcast. Who oversees the universities? Why Amir Makled and Shereef Akeel's races matter to all of us. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Shereef. Shout out to little big bro Yusuf T, always in the back on the ones and twos. Thank you for those that are at home watching and listening. We appreciate you. Inshallah, we'll be back in September. We hope you guys have a great rest of your summer, and we will see you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you.